Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. A very warm welcome from London in the UK. Here is today's news about electric cars and the future of transport. My name is Martin Lee. This is your EV News Daily for Monday, the 2nd of April, 2018. Coming up on today's show, BMW putting more chargers into China and why one head of a car maker says it's a no-risk strategy to go electric. But first of all, starting with the Model 3 Owners Club and a story which definitely is not an April Fool's. And trust me, I read a lot of stuff on the internet today as I was preparing for today's podcast, and there's a lot of stuff that was an April Fool. And a couple of things which I thought, I'm not sure. Are they joking or is that serious? Welcome to the world we live in with the news today. Franz von Holzhausen is the Tesla design supremo and the man responsible ultimately for signing off the Model 3. So how amazing would it be to meet him? That would be fantastic. How about going one better than just meeting him? How about him handing over your brand new Model 3? So here's the picture. You go to the Tesla delivery center and you're ready for the hour-long, whatever it is, process to finally get your Model 3. And let's face it, be one of the first in the world, even though it might be car 11,000. One of the first in the world to get one. And then Franz turns up to hand the car over. This is how it worked out. He said, I was on my way home from work and I figured I'd swing by. I love to see the excitement from people like you and share what we've created. Well, the Model 3 buyer said the car was flawless. I inspected every panel gap with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find a millimetre of misalignment. After reading so many horror stories, I found it hard to believe there was no noticeable defects on the car. I said, the panel gaps are literally perfect. Did you make sure this one came out flawless like this? Franz smiled and said, nope, this is the first time I've seen the car. But things are always improving. Well, I continued down the 4-page Model 3 delivery checklist. Another user posted on the forum, and everything was absolutely perfect. And that is the account, according to the Model 3 buyer, an amazing experience. And you have to say, probably second only to if you'd gone to get your car and Elon had walked out and been like, hey, I'm here to sign over your new car. But to meet the man responsible for it and to meet Franz would just be incredible. What an amazing story. Tons of pictures online, by the way. Great story. Go and read the whole thread of how the whole story panned out as I have on the Model 3 Owners Club. Well, BMW is announcing a massive expansion to its charging network in China with plans to install more than 80,000 charging poles in over 100 Chinese cities. The company's goal is to have these poles up and running when its fleet of new EVs hits the market in the coming years. So BMW doing a bit of a Tesla, you would say, and having their own branded charging network. As of the end of last year in 2017, BMW had more than 65,000 charging poles in 90 Chinese cities. Well, moving on, and a new report on Green Car Congress points out how EVs, unlike gas cars, actually get greener as time goes by because of electricity getting cleaner. They say future electric vehicles are likely to have roughly 20% lower environmental impacts compared to the current vehicles based on technological improvements alone. However, when considering also the future improvement of the electricity sector, these improvements are in the range of 30 to 70% for baseline and climate policy scenarios. This is an important conclusion that must be considered when making policy in the mobility sector, as use of current results as a proxy for future technologies would be highly misleading. So says their report. And an important thing to remember when you draw that line on the graph from 2018 out into the future of how many cars are sold, how dirty will they be because of using the electricity that you're using today. It's all a moving target, and if you look at how green, for instance, recording this here in Western Europe, in the UK, and there's been a boom in renewables, and actually the cheapest renewables here, we are the windiest country in Europe, by the way. It makes an enormous amount of sense to have wind power here in the UK, just to use the natural resource. Onshore wind is by far and away the cheapest way to generate renewable electricity. But as a political issue, the government just won't allow onshore wind. And the quicker they reassess that decision and allow onshore wind, you see, there's so many people that go along with the idea, but then when they have to look out of their window at a wind turbine in the far distance, and then they kick up a stink, and then these things don't get approved by the local authorities. The quicker we can get past all of that and get some onshore wind to complement all of the offshore wind, by the way, which is a lot of it's foreign investment as well here in the UK, and they're still going ahead with that, even though it'd be much cheaper to do it without having to sink pylons into the seabed. Well, according to a Bloomberg report, when we talk about Model 3s, the pressure's escalating after one of the worst weeks in Tesla's 15-year history. Tesla is racing to manufacture and deliver its mission-critical Model 3 car to burnish the numbers, they say. It's about to report to rattled investors. Now, Tesla's Fremont factory in California, the delivery hub, was packed with people on Saturday evening as the very last hours of the quarter drew to a close on the 31st of March. Final day, they could make a big difference to the numbers about to be announced. Red couches and tall white tables were set up outside the Fremont facility, and a DJ played music with a truck selling Vietnamese food on hand as well. Now, behind the scenes, as a company that struggled to figure out how to mass manufacture cars, implored people to get production on track and prove the doubters wrong. That's if you believe that email that was sent to all staff, which they claim they got their hands on. Well, Barclays PLC analyst Brian Johnson has warned clients to watch out for a potential burst rate bear trap. What does he mean, a burst rate bear trap? In which Tesla will beat Wall Street's low projections for Model 3 deliveries. He estimates Tesla's producing 1,500 to 1,700 units of Model 3 every week. We think it's possible, they say, Tesla may have stockpiled batteries amid the Fremont downtime, allowing production to be higher in that final week, Johnson wrote in a report a couple of days ago. Any such beat is unlikely to be sustainable, and questions remain on Tesla's ability to reach that goal. So ends the report. And I understand why they would say that it's not sustainable. All of the automation equipment has, from the Grohmann acquisition, it was all working in Germany, and then Elon said all you got to do is take the equipment apart, reassemble it at the Gigafactory, and then that will improve what was the bottleneck, which was the battery assembly. So you get the Gigafactory firing on all cylinders, pardon the combustion engine related pun, but you get that going with the new automation Grohmann equipment, which is all up and running now, and the actual assembly of the cars was never the bottleneck. It was always the batteries, according to what we were led to believe, and that's the bit that all of the automation equipment at the Gigafactory was designed to solve. So I'm not as pessimistic as that analyst. And finally, according to Autocar Professional, the head of Aston Martin said that the Lagonda concept that we saw in Geneva, as you know, will be there to challenge the duopoly of Rolls-Royce and Bentley. That's Andy Palmer. Talking in an exclusive interview with Autocar Professional, the Lagonda brand has been revived to lead Aston Martin's charge in the electric mobility space, says this report. Now, he feels going electric, he says, is a, and I quote, no-risk strategy. Wow. To compete against Rolls-Royce and Bentley in the super luxury segment. Lagonda, he says, to quote, is going to compete with Rolls-Royce, and one of the key attributes of a Rolls-Royce is that it's very quiet. And obviously, an electric car is even quieter. So there you go. There's the head of a very premium brand like Aston Martin saying, investing in EVs, I quote, it's a no-risk strategy. And on that is where we'll end it today. Well, I'd love to spread the word about electric cars. If you can share this with just one person, that would be amazing. Share it with a few more, and that would be wonderful. Every previous episode of the podcast is online: iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, and of course the blog at evnewsdaily.com. If you want to, you can subscribe, and that means you get it first and free and automatically. And you can catch up with me on Twitter at evnewsdaily. Have a wonderful Monday. If you are having a bank holiday Monday in certain parts of the country, or a day off as part of your Easter break, enjoy it. I hope you spend it with friends and family and you have a nice day off work. Of course, if you are working, unlike the rest of us, and doing a normal day's work, thank you for listening. And I'll catch you tomorrow.